At the very outset, allow me to congratulate the Honorable Minister of Finance, Dr. Ranganathan Padayachi, for presenting his fourth budget. In 2020-2021, the title of the budget was Our New Normal. 2021-2022, Better Together. 2022-2023, with the people and for the people. 2022-2023, to dare and to care, oser et protéger. This budget hopes to build on the foundation laid in the previous budgets. Mr. Speaker, sir, despite the massive slowdown globally caused by COVID-19 pandemic and a war which is still ongoing, our economy is therefore on the right track, despite some doomsayers. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to go back in time and remind the House once again that people have been at the heart of this government. Their well-being, their safety have been the priority of this government, of this Prime Minister. The House and the country will remember and should remember during the COVID-19 pandemic, it is this government which ensured that no one goes to bed hungry, from providing food packs to paying the pensions to our elderly during the lockdown period. In its continuous commitment to ensure food security and nutritional security, the government has maintained or increased subsidies on rice, gas, bread, among others, and this should be on record, Mr. Speaker, sir. The Honorable Minister Manish Gobin mentioned it, that MSM has been, since 40 years, prioritizing its people. It is in our DNA, be it in 1982, when Honorable Paul Béranger wanted to remove subsidies in toto. You remember that? Petite piqûre de rappel. And let me remind the House that for the past years, we have continuously been walking the talk with the measures or policies being people-centric, as we on this side have always believed in addressing the global challenges as one voice in unity. Mr. Speaker, sir, on the 2nd of March 2023, the Parliament welcomed the third edition of the National Youth Parliament. The National Youth Parliament is a unique educational program which brings together young persons to discuss issues of national and international importance. Among them, there were some youngsters, just to name few of them: Alisa, Rudi Banjan, Akash Sitaram, Yovesh Ganu, Vaishali, Ziad Hossain, Nikhil, and Ram Nawak, Nikhil as well, who were present here. These youngsters, Mr. Speaker, sir, they aspire to walk into our shoes. They see us as their inspirations, whether it's members on the opposite side or members on the government side. Those youngsters, together with the youth who are going for their general papers, who are at the college, who are following the debates right now, are attentively listening to what's being said in the House. And I must admit that since yesterday, we have been witnessing all types, all forms of debates, and especially after the advent of, being online, being on camera. The Honorable Member mentioned it, that we need to have some ability, to quote him, that ability to Photoshop. But I guess for members on the opposite side, the ability to act in front of a camera. I don't know whether the Labour Party offers a training for that, like how to act. And I must say that among the forms of debates that we've been listening to, there was one with l'hystérie. And I was wondering whether the Minister Manish Gobin could bring forward, something when we talk about sensitive, some people need to have that. I think this should be introduced as a medicine. I don't know whether the Honorable Jagat Pal can consider that. Because instead of debating about ideas, those people were debating about the person. And they were violent as well. And you know, I was like quite shocked. And trust me, it's my very first time that we are here in this parliament. It's our 4th budget speech that we are participating in. And a debate and a budget speech is all about ideas, it's all about discussing, it's all about bringing our humble contribution towards what has been proposed by the Minister of Finance. So there were members of the opposite side, Honorable Utim, who said it. Yeah, we were taplatab. Members of the Labour Party also were saying that we were taplatab. So I was wondering whether they did better than us. So I went to check. In 2006, the appropriation 2006-2007 bill, where the Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Honorable Hamastanen, measure item 2115, I quote, this year, the tariff cuts will concern some 60% of tariff lines. We are bringing down the top tariff rates. This will concern mainly school bags. And listen to this. What were they tapping la tab on? They were tap la tab on cosmetics and makeups, soap and shampoo. So that was the priority in 2006. We were eating cosmetics. Okay. No, I understand, because some people need to invest in gel, because when they come here, Le Beau Gosse, he needs to look good on the TV. He needs to be the actor. So you need to remove it. So that's why the priority at that point in time was cosmetics and makeup, as some say it so well. Okay. So the next year now, in 2011, that was the Labour and PMSD government, okay? Measure item 379. So the then Vice Prime Minister, Minister of Finance and Economic Development, I quote, he says, I am also abolishing the 15% duty on perfumes, cosmetics, shavers, hair removing appliances, hair clips, shampoo, and other preparations for hair. No, seriously, en 2011, were we eating that? And you have the toupet to say, population va pas arriver joindre les déboutes? C'est ve penalo la tête petite tax on hair things? Come on. No, come on. And then they come to give us lessons. During the debates also, as I say it, because, you know, the youngsters are following us and they need to know, they need to understand. Because just like them, we are here as young members. We are millennials sitting here. I will come to that point later on. I'll explain why it's important for us to set the record straight. The second one, we have an amnesic memory on the other side. Some members on the opposite side, des propos sélectifs. One member, I was really, you know, I appreciate when I saw that post coming on my Instagram, because I'm very active on social media as well. So one member of the parliament, you know, they have the, like, at the end of the day, arrive ce qui arrive, Bizanzis descend gouvernement. That's their aim and that's their mission. So on the 2nd of June, the honorable member who spoke right before me, Honorable Johanna Béranger, published, I quote, on Instagram, encore une fois, me note avec regret qu'il a tout ban plateau côte pour discuter, ban mesure qui pour annonce, ban bidze, pena femme qui représentée. Sauf pour Radio One, bravo à eux. Pourtant, ban femme autant concernée qui ban hommes. Mouna de la tête plaisir femme journaliste qui bien compétent. Okay. Not a single word today in her speech about women. Et pourtant, she was defending that on social media. Pourquoi? Because la jeunesse se trouve on social media, Mr. Speaker, sir. So you need to look like très tendance. Moi, I'm fighting pour la jeunesse. Moi, I'm fighting pour la femme. Mais, for Hansard in the parliament, not a single word for those women who were not invited on the plateau. Ah, et je t'en ai tout pévin de nous laissons. Mais quelle honte, Mr. Speaker, sir. The second post
You don't
now.
have the right to reply. You don't. Please withdraw from the chamber.
The second point.
Withdraw from the chamber.
Let me move on. The second point, Mr. Speaker, sir. On the same day, few hours later, she posted another one. Qui était ça? I quote. Qui était ça? Est-ce qu'il y peut insigner? She posted a picture of Ramesh Basantroy, who on Défi Media said, l'économie mauricienne est dans un état de ménopause. And I quote what she wrote. Qui était ça? Est-ce qu'il peut insigner qui une femme ménopause n'est pas bon ou bien il n'est plus servi non? I was really respecting those comments because I think together we can fight for the cause of women. But not a single word in this August Assembly. Why? Why are you only talking to us for the budgetary measures, but you don't tire la sonnette d'alarme as you do? What are you doing outside, just pour la galerie, pour the youth who are following you on social media? Should be done same here in this August Assembly. Why did you not raise the voice when Honorable Anketi was going too far in her arguments towards the Honorable Minister of Gender? This should be inside and outside the Parliament as well. Mr. Speaker, sir.
Order.
Tape la table for cosmetics.
Order. I have already ordered Honorable Béranger out. I am ordering you out if you continue.
But there will be no quorum there.
No.
My time is running. Can I continue, Mr. Speaker, sir? Because I have only like 30 minutes to sum up what I have to say. And now, bien sûr, because we learn here, we come here. At one point in time, I could feel I was in a lecture room when the Honorable Shakil Mohammed was like, each and every time that he comes in this August Assembly, he's like, why should we compare what we did before? Why should we do that? No, you need to change it. We need to change the rhetoric and everything. And he gives us lessons. And you know what? He accuses us. And at one point in time, I'm sure my friends, backbenchers, say, are we doing something wrong if we are congratulating the Minister of Finance for presenting a budget? I think it's quite normal. So what I did, I went to check what he did. Because, you know, he has that principle. You wear the gel, you come as a beau gosse, as an actor, and you just do the acting pour, bien sûr, la caméra. But au fond, there's nothing. And he's not here. He chooses not to be present here. Bien sûr, par courtoisie, I think it's very important that a honorable member, being a seasoned politician, he should have been here listening to all the debates as well. But we can count how many times he is present. If he's around, please ask him to come in, because I have a message for him. Alors, let me just tell you. En 2009, in the appropriation bill, I was wondering whether he did the same thing. He says, nous casse d'ici. He says that we are always, saying good things about our prime minister. We are always saying good things about the finance minister. I don't know whether we should have been applauding his former prime minister. I don't know. But when I went to read his speech, let me just quote three of them, which are very interesting for the Hansard. I think it's important. And for those who are following us right now, it's very important. I quote, he says, that's in the Appropriation Bill 2009. He says, in the light of all these backdrops, when I was here to listen to the budget speech of the Honorable Vice Prime Minister, I was very, very pleased. I was very, very pleased. Let me just take this, British accent, okay? Not surprised, but pleased to hear that it had nothing to do with an electoral budget. When I listened to him, there was one saying which came to my mind, and he was like, it's the following. He quotes, when something is not broken, why change it? In other words, the budget of the Honorable Vice Prime Minister was nothing but a continuity of what had started in 2005, 2006, 7, 8, and then it culminates to this year. And he further goes on to say, I quote, but us in Mauritius, through the subtle, intelligent, and sometimes even bold initiatives of this government, through the leadership of Dr. Naveen Ramgoolam and excellent work of our Vice Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, Economic, we have had not to suffer as much. Bizarre, I don't know whether he wrote it, he knew what he was reading at that point in time, because he's asking us not to congratulate our Minister of Finance, not to congratulate our Prime Minister. The next year, in 2010, I said maybe that's one time he did that, it's the same rhetoric. And you know what? He uses the same dialogue that he used today, that he has the right to criticize. So he says it is, I quote, that it is to criticize. I do not ascribe to this philosophy. The rule of the game, which he needs to understand that he has been giving us lessons. The rule of the game is not for the opposition to start just by criticizing, because what they have done, Mr. Speaker, sir, is nothing less but criticizing. And what has he been doing today? He has been yelling and screaming. He has been criticizing from the start till the end of his speech. He has been criticizing. So, again, don't do what I say, but don't do what I say. So just look at me, listen to me, and follow what I'm saying, but don't do what I'm doing. And, you know, he goes further and says that what I believe a responsible opposition should do is to recognize that in 2005, Dr. the Honorable Naveen Ramgoolam became Prime Minister. And why did he become Prime Minister? It is because the people of this country voted for him to be the leader of the alliance, to lead us forward. But they were the one who came forward with a motion of no confidence in this government, saying that we have been, élections truquées, etc., while he was the one. And he further goes on to, bien sûr, flat the Honorable Dr. Naveen Ramgoolam as well. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, on ne refait pas l'histoire. We have in front of us an alliance, espoir ou désespoir. But let me just quote something. En 1983, in their bilan and programme électoral, I quote, which was entitled, that was for the MMM party. Today we are sitting here together, we see they are all together. One movement just to pull this government down. This is their main aim and main objective. This is the only objective that they have right now. In their bilan and programme du MMM.
I am naming Honorable Béranger. Continue. Continue. Okay.
In their bilan and programme du MMM dated 1983, Unité and Vérité, this is what, you know, the youngsters listening to us should understand, that what you see is not always what is true. You know what they wrote sur thème page 2, thème l'héritage. And I quote, quand les ministres de Sossi Ousagor Ramgoolam vident finalement les lieux, le 14 juin 1982, après 23 ans de pouvoir sans interruption, que laisse-t-il derrière eux? Ils lèguent au MMM une économie anémiée par deux dévaluations successives. Further down, he says, nous avons hérité de la pire situation économique inimaginable. En 1976, quand le MMM frôle le pouvoir, île Maurice sort à peine du boom sucrier. And now today they are sitting together as one alliance, together, you know, and they are planning to be in the government and they will present the budget together. But in 1983, tu peux dire une économie anémiée. On ne refait pas l'histoire, Monsieur le Président. And listening to some of them, some just to get power, have accepted pour boire l'isole. Hein? Alors, oser, dare. Mr. Speaker, sir, for too long we have been ignoring the role of the youngsters in our country. But this regime has dared to trust the youth. For too long we have associated la jeunesse de ce pays avec la dérive. And yesterday I was appalled to learn that Honorable Utim, during an interview, mentioned that 5,000 roupies pour la jeunesse pour faire masse. No, Honorable Utim, that was shocking and sad. Et vous avez le toupet, et quelle honte, to come here and give us lessons. And sad to see how the MMM...
Order! You don't have the right to do that. Order! Quiet, quiet, quiet. Continue.
Sad to see that the MMM does not respect the youth of this country. Mr. Speaker, sir, the narrative should change, and it is changing under the leadership and the vision of the Honorable Prime Minister Pravin Kumar Jagnnath. Mr. Speaker, sir, budgets are not just an accounting exercise. Un budget national s'avère un outil par lequel le gouvernement met sa politique en action concrète. Le budget national est une planification pour l'avenir. The economic agenda for achieving our vision has been to facilitate numerous opportunities for our citizens, prioritizing our youth so they can fulfill their ambitions and aspirations. La jeunesse doit être considérée comme un atout. Il faut tout l'offrir, l'encadrement nécessaire durant cette phase critique de sa vie et de la faire comprendre qu'elle a la possibilité de prendre des bonnes décisions. Engaging the youth to build his or her future, Mr. Speaker, sir, this is what these 20,000 rupees comes as a savior to the family and to the youngster who wants to help himself in setting a business, in buying a laptop, in paying for the courses, for a training or anything, and helping the family as well. La jeunesse est au cœur même du budget. This shows that the engagement and the trust, Mr. Speaker, sir, of the Prime Minister towards the youth of this country. My honorable colleague Itu delivered a beautiful speech highlighting the brain drain and the exode. But today, Mr. Speaker, sir, we are talking about the millennials and the Gen Z. What the millennials underwent prior to 2014. Race d'hyper from la bourse d'enfants, take a student loan, still studying, and you have to take a loan and be indebted and you have to pay that loan again. National residential property tax, pay for your property if you own one at that period of time. But what the Gen Z right now, this is the new generation, what they will have as facility. Free university, free transport, no municipal tax, 20,000 rupees for their independence allowance, start a business, invest in a startup, save or help your parents. On page 65 in budget 2022-2023, the home ownership, Mr. Speaker, sir, mentions that there's going to be more job for our people, enabling easy access to property. In item 385, for many Mauritians, owning a home is a life goal. The government will continue to help to make it a reality. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to take a moment to reflect on a strong, stable government that we have providing for the past few years, together with our partners of the Alliance, to pave the way for our youth. I will now turn to the issue of price of petroleum products and special effort undertaken by the government in this budget to bring about a reduction in the price of mogas, that is, l'essence. As we are all aware, the price equalization account for petroleum products, both diesel and mogas, has been in deficit for over 18 months now because of the constant increase in prices on the international market, whereas the increases in price in Mauritius, when they have been implemented, have been capped at a maximum of 10% only, as per the existing regulations. In line with the general philosophy of this budget, the Minister of Finance has taken the initiative to transfer funds, that is 275 million, to STC and subsequently amended the regulations under the Consumer Protection Act to allow the STC to credit the PSA in order to absorb the existing deficit in the price stabilization account of mogas. Mr. Speaker, sir, il faut rendre à César ce qui appartient à César. The decrease in price of mogas would not have been possible without a deliberate policy decision by the minister. And I have just explained above that he has gone extra miles, putting the people first. Mr. Speaker, sir, although I am a young member of the parliament, I still remember how on several occasions in the past, when faced with some kind of difficult global economic environment, Minister of Finances previously had recourse to such voluntary as triple shocks and global paradigm change to exhort the people to serre ceinture, mange manioc, patate. Today, we stand together. We can be proud to congratulate our Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance for having presented a socialist budget guided by a philosophy of support to the purchasing power of people, especially those most vulnerable to consequence of difficult global economic environment. Let us go and have a look at some of the specifics in the budget, because there are some real gems out there. This government, this national-led government, one of the very first things that we did is we have been standing behind each and every woman of Mauritius, empowering the women economically. And one laudable action and much awaited measure, especially asked by the gender links on page 10, item 61, is to promote gender equality at all levels. Listed companies shall have a minimum of 25% of women on their boards. We have dared, Mr. Speaker, sir. Unfortunately, we live in a country where we imperatively have to set the quota system to get women a seat at the table, something which this government has always recognized by giving the women its due. Entrepreneurship is vital for a country's economic development. This government has taken a number of measures for startups, and they have borne results. This budget also makes it easier for our smaller businesses to small to medium-sized entreprise. Item 53, page 9, the government will continue to support our local entrepreneurs as they grow. The maximum grant provided under the SME support scheme will be increased from 200,000 rupees to 250,000 rupees. The DBM, I note with appreciation, has a great role to do in supporting the woman entrepreneur. Let's talk about the plight of the less well-off Mauritian children, what is happening to them and the support they are getting. It is right that the government should support the most vulnerable in our community, and never ever has any other government come forward with such bold measures. Mr. Speaker, sir, I proudly rise as a representative of my constituency number 4, Port Louis North and Long Mountain. Keeping my constituency as backdrop, Mr. Speaker, sir, I shall further elaborate the budgetary measures as announced. Mr. Speaker, sir, the priority of this government, the priority of the Prime Minister, Honorable Pravin Kumar Jagnnath, has been the welfare of its people for an inclusive society. Reason why the Prime à l'emploi scheme will be extended to persons with disabilities. The budget 2023-2024 is clearly setting the vision of our Prime Minister to build a Mauritian moderne, juste et équitable for our future generations. This government will continue to provide its unflinching support to students with special education needs. There is also the provision for grant in aid in SEN schools, which has been increased by 23% to 191 million. Hence, the household earning from 10,500 monthly benefits from the support under SRM. Under item 432, the Minister of Finance is increasing the threshold for eligibility under the social register of Mauritius. We welcome, in my constituency, the creche allowance for SRM beneficiaries, which would be increased from 2,000 rupees to 3,000 rupees. The monthly incontinence allowance of 1,800 will be extended to patients suffering from cancer of prostate, cancer of bladder, and Alzheimer or stroke as well. Mr. Speaker, sir, I will here like to set on record my deepest appreciation and gratitude towards the Honorable Prime Minister, towards the Honorable Minister of Finance, and especially the Minister of Health and Wellness, Honorable Kailesh Jagatpal, for what he has been doing for the children who have to go abroad for their operations. He himself personally have met some children out there, and I know that he has been helping people, and I'm sure that the association Enrêve and Sourire would appreciate the measure that has been brought to this house. A priority for this government is to build a more productive and competitive economy that supports job and higher incomes as well. Coming to my constituency, being mindful of my time as well, Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to thank the Honorable Minister of Finance for focusing. I have always been saying it repeatedly that my constituency has been the victim of climate change, from Crèvecoeur to Kongoma to Lemoyan. It's a mountainous region. Vallée des Prêtres also has been subject to landslide or to flooding as well. So consideration has been given in this budget for those areas, and I'm very grateful to the Minister of Finance for the projects that have been set up in my constituency. Now, as we always say, the Prime Minister is very much for sports. We want a healthy nation, and we welcome, of course, the construction of 40 new mini soccer pitch, which are in my constituency, among which we have in my constituency. We have the upgrading of 34 football grounds, one in Long Mountain, 40 new mini soccer pitch in Sainte-Croix and La Cure as well. The rehabilitation of the NHDC housing states. And here I would rightly say that those people, those NHDC, I have two NHDCs complexes that really need renovation, and I would appeal to the Minister of Finance to consider both of them. There's NHDC of Vallée des Prêtres and NHDC of La Cure as well, which badly need refurbishment, renovation, painting works to give it back again its honor. Thank you, Honorable Minister of Finance. I will now like to conclude, Mr. Speaker, sir. Rapidly, thank you. Mr. Speaker, sir, the budget 2023 paints a picture of positivity and success for Mauritius and our economy. It lays a solid framework for future, an inclusive society for everyone. We as a nation have emerged from COVID-19 more united. The Prime Minister has made its people its strength. 1 million tourists, we made it happen. It happened, we made it. The success of the industrial policy and strategic plan implementation has happened. Why? Because we trust our people, we trust our youth, and we know that our people and our youth are actually our strength. And as a government, together with our partners, we are striving for our population. This is the spirit of Mauritians. Together as one people and as one nation, we shall overcome all obstacles. And if I have only one word to say about this budget, it's empathy. I said it at the beginning. Budget is not only about balance sheet, money, and economy and everything, but it's about empathy. It's about putting your people first and supporting your people. I thank you for your kind attention. I'm done, Mr. Speaker, sir.